Here is a look at First News. Fair, accurate, you get the damn truth. Israel's foreign minister heading to France today. Talk about the fallout from the decision by the prosecutor of the World Court. He wants an arrest warrant for Israeli and Hamas leaders. Several European countries, including the key ally of France and Belgium and Slovenia, support the move. Why don't you shove that move right up your keister? That's what I'd tell them. Israel's defending their nation. We're blatantly attacked by Hamas terrorist organization. Killed 1,200 of their citizens. The rest of the area out there in the Middle East vowing to annihilate all the Jews and death to America, and they're going after Israel. There was a defense witness in Donald Trump's non-disclosure case yesterday, and the judge threatened to remove him. You know why? Because it was not going well for the people prosecuting Trump, and he had to stop all of that right away. It was an ex-attorney, Michael Cohen's attorney, Robert Costello, testimony yesterday, and he just undermined the credibility of that witness. I mean, it was sickening what happened in that courtroom. And so the judge stopped it and admonished him for being so hard on the witness. They don't even want him to be able to testify, and yet they let a porn star do it, but not the attorney of the guy who was the key witness. This is what a monkey court this is, folks, and it's a waste of time, really, and taxpayer money. But it will go on again today in New York. Germany's foreign minister has arrived in Kiev, latest display of support for the Ukraine. And Nelia Barbarak renewed Berlin's calls for governments to send more air defense systems as Russia is pounding Ukraine with missiles. Germany's the second biggest supplier of aid to the Ukraine after the United States, but deliveries of promised weapons from countries like Germany and other NATO countries have been slow to get there. Ukraine's depleted troops are trying to hold off a Russian offensive right now on the eastern border. Joe Biden and Antony Blinken, though, are nowhere to be found or heard when it comes to trying to broker a ceasefire with Russia. Nobody's calling for a ceasefire or peace like they are with Israel. It's trying to wipe out a terrorist group. Nope. In fact, we're doubling down, sending more and more in there to keep up the pressure on Putin. Singapore Airlines said one person actually died on board and others hurt when they had a flight encounter severe turbulence this morning. It was heading from Heathrow, diverted then to Bangkok, as there were 211 passengers and 18 crew members on board. A few were transferred to the hospital for evaluation. No word on the cause of death of the one passenger. French President Emmanuel Macron is traveling to New Caledonia, signaling French authorities' growing confidence that reinforced security and emergency measures are bringing unrest on that French Pacific territory under control now. All hell broke loose there over the weekend. He's heading there to show a sign that everything is okay. Paris sent 1,000 reinforcements there to bolster their security forces that actually lost control of some parts of the capital there. China, the runaway leader in supplying the world with the hardware to gather solar power, now it's installing it at home at such a clip the country's grid is getting more than it can use in some places, especially in Shandong, where they are paid the equivalent of $10,000 a year for electricity that gets fed into the grid now. They said when the sun comes out, you make money. Analysts and solar companies said the future remains bright in China if China can quickly adapt to the oversupply. EPA was out with a big warning yesterday for all of us. Cyber attacks against water utilities around the United States now becoming more frequent and more severe. An alert urging water systems to take actions to prevent the drinking water. We never had to worry about cyber attacks 50 years ago, folks. The valves had to be turned by hand. The breakers on all the electrical substations had to be thrown by hand. They're not now. They're all switched on by computers. Hackers are getting in, giving all kinds of problems to water utility companies and electric companies there. Then they hold them for ransom and make them pay. It's a problem that we need to address, according to the EPA Deputy Administrator, Janet McCabe. Now Joe Biden and Donald Trump agree on something. Tariffs. That's right. The Biden administration and the Democrats that jumped Trump's case when he was president about the tariffs on China, now they want tariffs on China because China kills our economy. Finally woke up. New tariffs on steel and aluminum. John Tester was one of the leading advocates against Trump's tariff policies, saying that the tariffs on steel and aluminum would hurt farm machinery and farmers and ranchers. Now they're all supporting them. Now they're all back 100%. He was definitely ahead of his time. Global shares retreated. U.S. stock index finished higher yesterday. Tech companies had the best day. Crude oil is down. Oil was lower, $78.98 a barrel. Hopes are growing that the U.S. Federal Reserve could cut interest rates by the end of the year. Doesn't know if that's going to happen yet or not due to the fact that inflation is still on the way up. Stocks that traded heavily yesterday include Him and Hers Health. It was up. They expanded their access to weight loss medication. And as the United States gets heavier and heavier and heavier, demand for those medications are going up. Norwegian Cruise Lines up yesterday. They raised their earnings forecast for the year as people once again are starting to cruise. Target was down. Why? The retailer yesterday announced they're cutting prices on 5,000 consumer basics this summer in order to get people in and buy those products. United States Steel was up yesterday as Nippon Steel is reportedly stepping up their efforts to complete the buyout of that steel maker, even though Joe Biden's administration opposes that effort. Montana's attorney general told supporters that he skirted the state's campaign finance laws by inviting another Republican to run against him in the primary. That way, you're allowed to raise more money for the general election. Austin Knudsen said he made this statement May 11th at a fundraiser in Dillon. He declined through a spokesperson to comment on that recording. So the Montana Democrat Party filed some finance complaints against him right away, and his opponent Logan Olson, alleging that they were working together. That would allow him to raise more money for his campaign for attorney general. A mountain in Wyoming's Grand Teton National Park is closed to visitors. A grizzly bear attacked and injured a man from Massachusetts. Park officials said the grizzly was one of two. It surprised the 35-year-old man Sunday afternoon on Signal Mountain. Rescuers flew the man and drove him then to a hospital. He is expected to recover. They didn't detail the man's injuries, although he did have a rectal eclipse, I'm sure. Park officials closed the trail and the road. The attack happened on the onset of the park's busiest summer tourist season. It encountered at the Overlook, which is at about 7,700 feet. Several such attacks occur each year as the region's grizzly population has grown. Officials are urging people, though, to give bears plenty of space, carry that bear spray, and avoid leaving out food that might attract bears. Don't rub yourself in bacon, any of that kind of stuff before you go on a hike, as the grizzly bears are out and they are hungry. We told you yesterday that Red Lobster has officially filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They're 56 years old. They've already announced the closing of dozens of restaurants, and they brought masses in with the inventions of popcorn trip and endless seafood deals. But because of the waist size of Americans, it cost them a fortune. Red Lobster lost millions in the ultimate endless shrimp promotion, Mark. $20, all you can eat shrimp. They said they lost millions of dollars because they underestimated these gluttons that go into these. Mark, keep it coming. I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be back and I'll have more room for 3 more pounds. Keep it coming. And they went broke. So they filed bankruptcy yesterday. And 5 rescue dogs have been honored by Ecuador's fire department at a ceremony, retiring them after 7 years of service, turning them over to their new adoptive owners. Lieutenant Colonel Esteban Cardenas said the dogs Ares, Kratos, Zeus, Titan, and Gaia were all part of the first class of canines used by their rescue unit. They work with German Shepherds and Golden Retrievers. They had a big ceremony yesterday, recalled some of their feats, including aiding and finding survivors of earthquakes and landslides across Ecuador, including their mission to Mexico in 2017. Veterinarian reports had suggested it was just time to retire the 5 rescue dogs. So the dogs are retired in wonderful ceremonies yesterday and will now press on with family adventures instead of rescue work.
In sports, baseball, Boston Red Sox star Rafael Devers set a team record when he homered for the 6th consecutive game last night. 5-0 win over Tampa Bay. He had shared the mark of 5 with Jimmy Fox, who did it in 1940, Ted Williams, 1957, Dick Stewart in 63, George Scott in 77, Jose Canseco in 95, and Bobby Dahlbeck in 2020. According to his teammate pitcher Tanner Houck, the guy's a freak. He can hit any pitch, anytime, and this hasn't happened since Mike Trout had 7 games in a row back in 2022.
Partly sunny skies today, 63. Today there's only a 10% chance of rain. That jumps up to 90% on Thursday, and we'll be lucky to hit 46 degrees. So going to be a little chilly there for a while. 60s over the weekend, the way it looks, pushing 70. Downtown it's 43 right now at 6:41. That's what's happening. Mark and Paul here together. Thanks for tuning into The Cat.